What's going on, guys? This is a video on how I lowered my car an additional inch more on my 94 Cobra. This how-to can pertain to pretty much any Mustang, 94 to 04, even Fox bodies, and so forth. But I originally had OEM isolators on my rear springs, lowering springs. These are H&R Sport springs. And then I removed the lower isolator off my lower control arm perch down there. And it still got pretty low. It's just the upper isolator still had my car at like a slight downward angle. It was a lot higher in my eyes versus the front. So I'm trying to even out the rear to be even with the front. After I tried the OEM, I decided just to throw in the polyurethane, see how it works. And if you're trying to lower your car, definitely don't go with polyurethane because there's no give. It doesn't compress like rubber OEM. But if you still want some protection, I would say go with the OEM, but that's up to you. So in that case, what I did was I used the three-quarter ID heater hose method, which basically you cut your heater hose to probably at least 2 coils on the lower side, and then at least one whole coil up top, because it's going to be really hard to wind in the second coil because it's so small from the space between the top coil and the second coil is so small. It's going to be real hard to put a heater hose underneath, unlike the upper. So I cut my heater hose, I wound it in the middle, and then I will install the heater hose, or install the spring as is up into the lower control arm here. And then once I get the lower control arm in place, I'll spin the heater hose down. It's kind of hard to show, but I'll spin the heater hose down and I'll get it to go all the way to the bottom of the coil. Now with the top coil, you probably aren't going to be able to spin it at all. So I would advise using a lot of WD-40 or grease up in the top spring perch area, and then WD-40 or grease down at the lower too, just so that you can be able to rotate your spring to the orientation it's supposed to be, and that the heater hose should still provide decent amount of protection from metal on metal contact. And that was my big thing. I really didn't want to go metal on metal, mainly for the fact that it can cause exposed metal and more susceptible to rust if it gets any type of moisture or rain. So hopefully we'll see how long the heater hose will last, and then we'll check it probably every 3 months to see how the heater hose is doing, if it's cracked, breaking, torn, and then if it is, just repeat the process on installing the heater hose again. So, well, hope this video helps. It definitely will more than likely lower my car a ½ inch to an inch, probably an inch more depending on your setup on suspension, if you have an adjustable lower control arm or not. It just varies on what your rear suspension is. I mainly have the J&M lower control arm. I need to get the rear uppers, but my J&M lower control arms do the job pretty well. They're not non-adjustable. So I just wanted to make a note here that I wanted the car to be lower, and that I still have some type of protection for the car, for metal on metal. So I would highly advise the heater core hose if you plan on wanting to lower it even more. So I hope this video helps you guys out. What's up, guys? Here's the how-to on how to get your heater hose down to the lower coil. It's pretty easy once you get your spring on. I know there's a bunch of how-to videos on how to get the spring on and off. It's really easy. So I'm not going to do the how-to on how to get your spring in there. But what you want to do is you want to spray some WD-40 inside here, and it's going to lube up the inside of the heater hose and the exterior of the coil. And then all you're going to do is just spin it down here like this, and then you're going to just rotate. You're just going to rotate your spring like this. You may have to grab some pliers to pull this way. So if you notice, the orientation of the tail is supposed to be on the back side. And there's your heater hose. You just wind it down. Like I said, I'm doing this with one hand right now, but if you do it with two hands, you can just spin the heater hose all the way down to the end of the coil, and then the upper pretty much stays in place. The upper heater hose stays in place right there, and that's still going to give you some cushion while you're driving down the road. So let me know how this works out for you guys, and I'll post up a video on what it looks like lowered even more in the rear.